More details on one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champion Cash Wheeler's arrest, because the police report for Wheeler's arrest was just released through the requested affidavit for the arrest warrant. More details as to the incident in question, what happened, the reaction to it, plenty of more details in this developing pro wrestling news story. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well, and we've got more details, as I mentioned, with this developing story regarding one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Cash Wheeler, and his arrest today stemming from an incident that took place at the end of last month. We now have the details as to what, certainly from one side of this story, from the alleged victim in this case, what they believe happened, their interpretation of the events that happened, that led to the warrant being issued for the arrest of Cash Wheeler, which led to him turning himself in Florida earlier today, which has led to all of this big news story, possibly affecting All In next weekend as well. Plenty more details on this. So, the AEW World Tag Team Champion Cash Wheeler, real name Daniel Wheeler, turned himself in for arrest earlier this morning in Orlando, Florida, after a warrant had been issued for him last month following an alleged aggravated assault with a firearm charge. Now, he was given a $2,500 bond and was ordered not to make any contact with the victims or witnesses in this case. It was also stated that he does not know the alleged victims or witnesses in this case anyway, so again, it's a pretty low-risk situation. The judge also ordered that he turn over all firearms to the Orlando authorities. Now, as I mentioned, we've got some more details on this now, because the police report for Wheeler's arrest was just released through the requested affidavit for arrest warrant, and there's been quite a lot of discussion about it. Again, we now kind of have some of the more in-depth details that we didn't have previously when the story first broke earlier today. Now, what we can see is the police officer at the time, the responding officer, the person who responded to the initial call, he's released his, or certainly we can now see his police report. So we'll get that up on the screen and we can read through it together. So it says, and I quote, "On July 27, 2023, at 09:59, I, Officer M. Bowie, and his number, responded to the redacted in reference to an aggravated assault with a firearm call. Upon my arrival, I spoke to the victim, Daniel Matter, who provided me with a sworn written/verbal statement that said the following. Matter stated he was driving west on Interstate 4 North, exit 83. He noticed a Jeep Gladiator weaving in and out of traffic, honking its horn, so he moved over to the far right lane to let the Jeep pass. Matter said the Jeep took the right shoulder to drive around him on the passenger side of his vehicle. Matter looked over and noticed a white male with a beard pointing a black semi-automatic handgun out of the driver's window at him with a strong stare. Matter said he feared for his life at the time. It continues, Matter stated he slowed down to get out of the way of the firearm and ended up behind the suspect vehicle at this time. At this time, both were committed to exit 83. Matter took pictures of the Jeep as it turned right onto College Park Drive and began to drive reckless. Matter said the Jeep bared the Florida tag, and obviously the tag in question is redacted. After taking the picture, Matter said he called 911 and gave the vehicle information to dispatch and the details of what occurred. He explained he could not be late for work and asked an officer to meet him at his work. The location, of course, once again redacted. I created a photo lineup using Elvis, a database used by law enforcement for investigative purposes. Elvis selected 5 random photos based on the suspect's Florida driver license picture, page 1 of 2, and put them in a randomized order, with the suspect being the 6th picture. Officer Blinn, number 34211, met with Matter and presented him with the photo lineup instructions and the photo lineup. Matter quickly selected the correct picture, photo number 2, of the suspect, later identified as Daniel M. Wheeler, and obviously goes into his date of birth, etc., with 100% certainty. See Officer Blinn's supplement for more details. Based on Matter's sworn statement and the positive photo lineup identification, probable cause exists to charge Wheeler with aggravated assault with a firearm violation of FSS 784.021. So that's kind of the incident in question. So more details actually as to what happened, certainly from the alleged victim's point of view. So as I mentioned, now the timeline is starting to come into place a little bit more. As I mentioned, Cash Wheeler is facing a third-degree felony charge stemming from a road rage incident in Florida. Of course, this story was broken by the Orlando Sentinel earlier today. Wheeler has been charged with 1 count of aggravated assault with a firearm, and he was booked in circuit court. Now, Wheeler appeared in court for a hearing on Friday afternoon today. He was given a $2,500 bond, ordered to turn in any weapons he owns, and to have no contact with the alleged victim. As I mentioned, we actually do have the footage of this arraignment. We can play that right now once again for you.
And let's see, Mr. Ferry, boy, that was quick, wasn't it?
Judge, thank you so much for your help. Standing to my right is Mr. Wheeler, Daniel Wheeler. He turned himself in late last night on a warrant by the Orlando Police Department. The charge was aggravated assault with a firearm. It's a third-degree felony. We are requesting that the court set bond in the amount of $2,500 with no contact with the alleged victims in the affidavit and no possession of weapons. My client is 36 years old. He's a U.S. citizen, has no prior record to my knowledge. He owns a home in Maitland, and so those are the reasons.
Give me just a second. I didn't get to see this affidavit. Let me take a look at it. So this is not domestic related, doesn't appear.
No, Your Honor. I don't think I haven't seen the affidavit, but my understanding is he does not know who these people are.
Well, State, did you want to be heard on bond or conditions?
No, Your Honor. Mr. Wheeler appears to have no other criminal history. It does appear to be a road rage type incident. He allegedly flashed a handgun at the alleged victim. But given that he has no prior history and does not know the victim, the conditions that defense has laid out, so he has no objection to.
All right, thank you. All right, well, that sounds reasonable, $2,500 for the bond. In addition to that, sir, you're going to be ordered to have no contact with the victim or any other witnesses involved in the case. You're also going to be ordered to have no weapons on or about your person. Now, that means that any weapons that you own that aren't in the custody of law enforcement at this point are going to have to be turned in to the sheriff's department pending the outcome in this case, and that's to be done within 12 hours of your release.
Okay.
All right?
Sir.
Now, anything else, State?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Ferry?
No, Your Honor. Thank you so much for your accommodations.
Not a problem, and good to see you.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you. Take care.
Now, AEW has released a statement in regards to the incident in question and what's happened really throughout the entirety of Friday. They said, you can see it on the screen right there, AEW has been made aware of the charge and we are closely monitoring the situation. He is fully cooperating with local authorities. That was a statement issued to the Orlando Sentinel, and also it was released to several other journalists as well. As far as the punishment, as we mentioned previously, a quick Google search. I am not an expert when it comes to US law or Florida law. Sometimes you have to state these things for these kind of videos. But as you can see, when it comes to a conviction for aggravated assault with a firearm, it's punished as a third-degree felony. This means that the defendant may be incarcerated for up to 5 years and be ordered to pay a fine of up to $5,000. Once again, he has pleaded not guilty and he has now posted bond. As far as when it comes to what this means for All In, of course, he is still scheduled as of right now to be participating in this big match at London's Wembley Stadium next weekend. There was a bit of confusion surrounding if indeed he would be allowed to leave the country whilst possibly being out on bail. In an update, PW Insider has reported that Wheeler was not asked to surrender his passport today and no international travel restrictions have been imposed upon him. As he hasn't been convicted of a crime, there is currently nothing stopping Wheeler from traveling to London for All In, and AEW has not announced a change. So as of right now, the match is indeed still on. There was was also a reaction, obviously, not a lot of people are talking about it so much on social media. The AEW World Champion himself, MJF, did actually tweet about this online. He tweeted, and I quote, "Kind of disappointed how many dorks there are on this app that jump to conclusions so quick. A ton of people's privilege is showing. We are all human. We are all flawed. We all make mistakes. Take it from a guy who's made more mistakes than most. I've had my ups and downs with FTR, but Cash Wheeler is a great dude and a badass. You're getting FTR versus the Young Bucks in front of 80,000 plus on August 27. Talk about that, you dweeb." So MJF backing his fellow AEW champion. What are your thoughts on the situation? What are your thoughts on the latest development? What are your thoughts now that we have at least one side of what happened, the incident in question at the end of July with this police report being released? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. And as again, guys, if we get any more details on this, we'll let you know in a future video.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.